On a day of resignations, Chris Evans leaving Top Gear followed Nigel Farage's stepping down as UKIP leader for a second time. Though unlike just after the last general election last year, this time he says he won't change his mind and added that he now wants his life back.
My aim in being in politics was to get Britain out of the European Union. That is what we voted for in that referendum 2 weeks ago. And that is why I now feel that I've done my bit, that I couldn't possibly achieve more than we managed to get in that referendum. And so I feel it's right that I should now stand aside as leader of UKIP. It has been a huge chunk of my life doing this, and it's not easy, perhaps when you feel a degree of ownership of something, to let it go. But it does come, as I say, at a cost, has come at a cost to me and perhaps to those around me. During the referendum campaign, I said, I want my country back. And what I'm saying today is I want my life back. And it begins right now. Thank you.
Nigel Farage was a founding member of UKIP. He left the Conservative Party in 1992, angry that the Maastricht Treaty had been signed, and faced accusations of racism and stirring up hatred during his time at the helm of UKIP. He also gained notoriety for hurling insults at senior figures in the European Parliament, once telling the former European Council President Herman Van Rompuy that he had the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk and the charisma of a damp rag. Jonathan Arnott joins us. Jonathan is UKIP MEP for the North East of England. And where next for your party then, Jonathan? Because the leading candidate, or what would have been the leading candidate, she's still banned from the party, isn't she?
Well, actually, I think there are quite a number of very talented individuals within UKIP who could do a great job as leader of the party. But where next for the party? I think, first of all, we have to look at the next couple of years, actually, are going to be about ensuring that no means no, that Brexit means Brexit, and that the government is held to account to make sure that we actually come out of the European Union with a good deal. So I think for the next couple of years, that is going to be a primary focus for the party. But actually, one of the good things about the leadership election to come is that we will be able to talk a little bit more about our vision for the party, for what we stand for post-Brexit, for how we can make the UK a better place. Because we've talked so much about all the things that we can't do whilst we're members of the European Union. But maybe now we can talk about the things that we can do after we leave the European Union.
Was that your pitch for the job?
No. I think if there were going to be a pitch for the job, then I'm sure that there are a number of much more qualified people than I.
So you're not interested?
Look, I've never been interested in a job that involves working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, how Nigel Farage managed to do that for so long, for so many years, and to still be able to smile through it, I have no idea.
When he says his work is done, effectively, does that not mean UKIP's work is done? Does this not now make you defunct as a party?
No. I think when Nigel says that, I think that's because Nigel, what you've got to remember is that Nigel has been involved with this campaign since the 1980s. He has taken an issue that wasn't even on the table, got us to a stage where we got a referendum, and then we've won that referendum. So he's taken, that was his life's goal.
Well, that was also, but by virtue of that, it became UKIP's life goal, didn't it? And now that goal's been achieved. But what's the point of your party?
But UKIP's goal is wider than simply securing Brexit, because leaving the European Union in and of itself does not make Britain great again. What leaving the European Union does is it gives us the tools to make Britain great again.
Do you feel a little bit abandoned by some of the pro-Brexiteers here? Cameron, who called the referendum, gone. Boris Johnson, gone. Nigel Farage, gone. There's only Michael Gove left, isn't there, of the prominent Brexiteers?
I'm not sure quite how you managed to describe Cameron as a Brexiteer then. He's the one that virtually threatens with World War III.
To clarify, what I meant was he was the person that triggered the referendum.
Well, the Conservatives had a manifesto commitment that they would call that referendum if they were to get into the power. And of course, well, in one sense, I mean, David Cameron did say that in the leaflet that went out to every household, the government propaganda to try to get us all to vote to stay in. They said that the government will implement whatever you decide.
The point I was making to you, and you know the point I was making to you, is that he called the referendum and he's now not there to pick up the pieces. The other people that called for Britain to leave as part of this referendum aren't there to pick up the pieces. So I'm asking whether you feel abandoned by some of these characters.
I mean, I never really felt that someone like David Cameron was ever speaking for people like me in the first place. So it was a bit difficult for me to feel abandoned.
Was Nigel Farage speaking for you? Was he speaking for you?
As for Nigel Farage, of course he was speaking for me and for millions of other people who wanted Britain to leave the European Union. But that doesn't necessarily mean that once he's succeeded in that aim, that he should be somehow forced to carry on doing something like this. And actually, maybe if he's decided that the time is right for him to leave, who am I to second guess that? And maybe, just maybe, there should be a silver lining in this. You know, when you come to the end of an era, a new era begins. And that new era is one in which we can talk positively about all the things that UKIP is going to stand for in the future.
Okay,
Part of the process of that is to have a leadership election.
Yeah, and this leadership election, just before we run out of time with you then, it's not you because you've ruled yourself out. It's not going to be Suzanne Evans because she's still suspended from the party. It's not going to be Douglas Carswell. So who is it?
Well, I mean, there are so many people who would do a good job.
Go on, then give me a couple of.
Look, I could give you loads of names.
Well, go on then. Give me two. Give me three.
Well, it's a little bit difficult before you know who's going to be in the running, isn't it? To say who's going to do it.
Well, not really. You're telling us there's loads of names, and you can't think of any.
No, I can think of plenty of names.
Well, say one out loud then.
I just don't want to insult anyone by missing anyone out. If I talk about someone like Paul Nuttall, our deputy leader, who would make an absolutely fantastic leader. If I talk about that, then I'll probably have Stephen Wolfe moan that I didn't mention him. Or if I mention Paul and Stephen Wolfe, then I might have someone like Patrick O'Flynn say, "Why didn't you mention me?" And if I mention all of them, then I might have a Nathan Gill or a Neil Hamilton say, "Why didn't you mention me?" You know, I mean, there's so many good people in this party who could make a big difference that it would be wrong to just say Paul because he's the deputy leader and someone that I know will do an incredibly good job.
Jonathan, thank you very much for talking to us. Jonathan Arnott, UKIP MEP for the North East of England. 10:50.